Hello and welcome back to Lovett Film. My name is Jamie and I am your host. Today's guest is David Mazouz, and David was Batman. He was Batman in Gotham. Gotham was a very, very successful TV show that was in the 2010s, and I'm a fan of Gotham, okay? I was watching week by week. Gotham is so underrated. It is a great show, and I can't believe I'm talking to Bruce Wayne, David Mazouz. David is pretty similar in age to me, so when I was a teenager, when Gotham was coming out, as a young teenager, I was like, oh, I want to be this kid, you know? It was more something that you could be like, well, I could do what he's doing. He has no powers, you know? So I was a big fan of Gotham, still am a big fan of Gotham, and a big fan of David's. He's not just Bruce Wayne, he's been in many different projects, such as Money Talks, his new short film that will be releasing soon on YouTube. It's executively produced by Christopher Lloyd, that's right, Doc Brown. And David co-wrote this movie, he produced this movie, he starred in this movie. I can't wait to see it myself. I also asked David if he's gonna be the next Batman in James Gunn's DCU. Hello.
Hey, Jamie.
David.
How you doing?
Oh, I'm good. Thanks so much for coming on. I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for having me. I love your background.
Oh, thanks. I mean, it's not coincidental. You know, I'm a fan of yours. I've seen, you know, I think we're quite similar in age. I'm 26. You're around that age, right? So
Yeah.
I grew up
I'm
watching.
24.
Yeah, there you go. So I grew up watching Gotham at the perfect age because Bruce wasn't too much younger than me. So I was like, wow, I want to be him, you know? So it's cool
Yeah.
to be talking to you today.
Did
you
it
know?
inspire you?
Well, not to be Batman because I think I'd get arrested, you know, jumping around buildings and stuff like that. But to get it, maybe to talk to people like you about, you know, what it's like to work on something like that. So, David Mazouz, first of all, am I pronouncing your name correctly? I worked on it because I hate
Hey,
when...
you killed it. You killed it. Yeah, good.
Ah.
You did your research.
Thanks, because I remember like watching Comic-Con panels. Like I was a proper fan of Gotham, and people would be saying multiple different versions of your name. So I'm glad I got it right.
I always liked it. It was like I always thought of it as part of my lore. Like, I mean, if someone ever called me David, I just knew that okay, like that person doesn't really know me. Yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
I've never actually met this person before.
I get that. So we'll just kick into the interview. David Mazouz, thank you so much for coming on to Lovett Film. Everyone, you know David from many different projects. I mean, myself personally, what I first saw your face in was Gotham, which was honestly one of the most underrated Batman shows of all time. It's so good, that show, from beginning to end. It's just, if you haven't seen Gotham, people watching, do check it out. It's very like Smallville, where it's the origin of, say, Bruce Wayne before he's Batman, but you don't actually see him as Batman, that type of thing. Or do you? Before we get into talking about, say, the specifics like that, though, David, how old were you when you got the role of Bruce Wayne, and what do you remember about that audition process?
So I was 13 when I booked it. I just turned 13 when I booked it. I was 12 when I was auditioning. My birthday's in February. I was auditioning around the holidays right in December. And my first audition, honestly, don't really remember it. It was kind of, I just remember it being, you know, a cattle call. They auditioned thousands of people from LA to New York to London to Chicago to Texas. And yeah, I remember that audition. I'm from LA. I remember just being, you know, a madhouse, and they asked me to come back for a callback. And I remember the callback, I had an 102-degree fever, and I didn't think I was really sick. And I did it, you know. Anyway, I went in, and you know, I thought I did a good job, but then I didn't hear anything for a few weeks, and honestly, I forgot about it. You know, I was a regular kid. I wasn't like really focused on any audition that I got. I mean, this one was exciting because I knew it was for the role of Bruce Wayne. I didn't really know much else about the project, um, and so obviously, you know, being a 12-year-old boy, I was pretty excited about that. But beyond that, you know, I wasn't too invested, so I kind of forgot about it when my agents, you know, reached back out to me in January after the holidays, and they said they want you to come in again and do a screen test. It's between you and three other boys. Okay, great. So I go in, do the screen test, and then they call me like that same night, I think, or the next night. Now it's between you and one of the other boys. Okay, great. So I went in again, and it's the same scene every time. The scene was between, I don't they didn't even call him Bruce in the sides. I forget what fake name they gave me, and it was between me and my therapist. And I was talking about my brother's death, and I was telling the story of how my family went camping, and it was a really meaningful experience for me. And my brother and I were in a tree, and or my brother had died. I don't know how he died, but I wasn't even talking about his death. The therapist asked me like, "What's one happy memory you remember?" And me and my brother climbed up a tree and an eagle landed right next to us on the tree, and I was telling the story. And that was the scene. And anyway, between me and one other boy, and then they called me again and they said, okay, now it's between you and three new boys. Okay. And so I went and, auditioned again. And this is like every night they're calling me. So I'm going back. I literally just went back like 6 days in a row, or something like that. And then again, it was between me and one other boy out of this new group of four. And now they asked me. So The Mentalist was shooting at the time, and all these auditions were on the Warner Brothers lot in LA. And Bruno Heller, the creator of Gotham, also was the creator of The Mentalist, and so he had the hair and makeup people of The Mentalist give me a haircut, straighten my hair. They told me what clothes to buy from Macy's. I got like a Brooks Brothers like button down and a blazer, to really really look more like Bruce Wayne. And and then I was told that I got the role, and then they never announced it on deadline. And then a few months later, I found out that they were still auditioning people. Like one of my friends had like gotten auditioned for this same role, in Chicago or something. And I found out that now they were going to Chicago and Texas, and they hadn't gone to those markets before. Um, so long story short, it was a very strenuous and long audition process. And like I got it, and then I wasn't sure if I got it. And then I mean, I guess it makes sense because it's such an important role when you're. I mean, it not even that Bruce was the most central character of season one, but obviously it's probably the role that's gonna create the most scrutiny. I would imagine is was their mindset, and so I guess they just wanted to like really really make sure that I was the right person. But I remember my in between me booking it and then them finally announcing it, so like it being official, because there was like a few month gap. In between that gap was my bar mitzvah, and my bar mitzvah just something that my friends used to do for each other at our bar and bat mitzvahs is like organize a dance, and all like 10 of my friends um, wore like Batman shirts and Batman beanies, and were like doing a dance. And it was like before it was announced, and I was like, oh my God, like what if I don't get this role? Like that would be such a nightmare.
Yeah, all the
um,
pictures would be
but yeah.
everyone dressed as Batman, and if you didn't become Bruce, you'd be like, well, that makes no sense.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
that's
It would have
incredible. Like
it would have
the
made us.
competition at that age as well. Like I mean, to have a fever on the first audition, let alone to do it over and over again and get the role, it must have been incredible. At that young age of 12 or 13, were you a fan of
Yeah.
Batman like so many other kids?
Oh yeah, of course I was. I mean, Spider-Man and Batman were my two favorites. But I mean, I honestly, I had a surface level understanding of Batman. I mean, the Christian Bale movies were coming out at that time. Like I think this was 2014, right? Yeah, it's 2014 when I booked it. So that was like right after, if I'm not mistaken, that was right after the last, Christian Bale movie came out. So Batman was like just a hot cultural phenomenon at the time. Everybody was talking about it. I remember like, I went to one of my best friends' sleepovers like around that age, and they put on The Dark Knight, and I was like too scared to watch parts of it, but I loved it. It was fascinating to me. And once I booked it, then I got super into the comic books, and I read everything I could get my hands on. I started with the basics, Long Halloween, Killing Joke, um, Court of Owls. I mean, all like yeah, Death in the Family, all the basic stuff. And then I just got really into it, and I started like just devour it because I was getting so many free comics from like I would go to comic conventions, or I'd go to like comic shops, and every people just wanted to give me Batman comics. So I just had all these comics in my room, and at night when I had nothing to do, I would just crack them open. And I devoured them. I found the character so fascinating. And something that was really interesting, I think, actually, season two, I remember, I think like the first season and the first half of the second season, Bruce is not so much the Bruce Wayne that he's obviously, to make it realistic, he's transitioning into that. And I think he's chiefly a scared boy and confused and obsessed. And he has these, more anal, obsessive sides to him that you can see how those are going to become like the traits that turn into the Dark Knight. But for the most part, he's pretty ineffective, as you would imagine a
Yeah.
12-year-old, 13-year-old boy to be.
realistic. You know,
If
the
you
way it
remember,
should be. Like he shouldn't be like, oh, able to do everything
right,
Batman can do in his early 20s. You know?
of course, of course. But I say that because I remember the first script where Bruce actually like has a plan and executes it successfully, with somewhat of a villain was, if I'm not mistaken, season 2, episode 10. And Silver St. Cloud, if you remember this
Yeah.
arc, is basically trying to hustle Bruce. And we as the audience think that he's getting hustled. And then there's a twist at the end of the episode where Bruce and Selina actually made this plan together to hustle the hustler, and hire this gun. I forget his name, the guy with the scar, to hire him to pretend to be torturing Bruce and Selina so that Silver would give up, information. Um, and I remember I was like, I read that script, and I had some fun stuff to do, interesting stuff to do before that, but that was the first time again, like that Bruce was really active. Before that, it felt like most things happened to him. This is the first time that he's, setting a plan in motion himself, and executing it successfully. Um, and I remember like I didn't know how to go about that exactly. And I read or I read a bunch of the comics, and then I think it was rewatching Batman Begins, where I saw this. I don't know if it was just my age or what, but I really noticed for the first time Christian Bale's stoicism in that, and how badass it was that he would just pull these things off, but kind of not ever show happiness or relief in doing it. Um, and I adopted that, and I think I added a whole new layer to Bruce in that scene, in that episode. I remember Bruno Heller, the showrunner, he wasn't always on set. He lived in LA and we shot in New York. He was on set that day, and he came up to me and he said, "You brought something really different today, and I really like it. Like keep going with that." And I was like, "Yes, okay." So all that to say, like, being a fan, and really consuming the previous media of this character in the midst, not even in preparation, but while, finding this character myself, and shooting it, 2 years in, was helpful. And I mean, I have so many stories like that throughout the time.
You did a phenomenal job as a genuine fan. You know, I was in school when this was coming out, so I would have been 2 years older than you. So I was watching Gotham week by week. And when I say Bruce's arc into Batman over all the seasons is a slow burn, that's exactly what it had to be, because you have all these characters, I mean, like Ben McKenzie, Jim Gordon, you have Donal Logue, Harvey Bullock. You know, it's about them and their story, and Fish Mooney, whatever. You can't just have Bruce immediately get really good at being Batman. So I just love how you performed as Bruce and how the show progressed over the years. Like, I mean, what a cast. I mean, as I mentioned, Ben McKenzie, Donal Logue, there's Sean Pertwee's Alfred. I mean, he is incredible. He's actually my favorite Alfred out of all of the Batman lore. And I've seen every movie all the way back to Adam West. And your guys' relationship was so real on screen. Like, I remember that scene where Bruce is in, I'm sure you remember better than me, Bruce was in a little bit of a fight outside, and there was a circle, and it was a big guy. I remember Sean's line was, if you want to fight a big man, all you got to do is outlast him. And it was just such a powerful scene. Talk about working with Sean, though. I mean, imagine, just so cool.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned that our, relationship just felt so real on screen. It's because it was real. I really love Sean so much. He was one of my best friends. I remember like we would hang out of set. We'd go like just the two of us to, get food or something, and everyone would look at us like, you know, that doesn't look like his dad. Like what? Who? Like why are those two hanging out? But we really were just genuinely like really, really good friends. We still are. I mean, I talked to him yesterday. He's in Thailand right now, and his butler actually is named Joe, and he's a massive Gotham fan. And he had all these quote. He wrote a quote, that was, from the pilot, like, however dark and scary the world might be right now, there will be light. He like wrote it big on like Sean's window in Thailand. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, point is, like, I love that man so much, and I really did look up to him, and I really did, like, just like he's teaching Bruce how to fight, and he's teaching Bruce how to dance, and he's teaching Bruce how to, become an adult. I felt like I was learning how to become an adult from Sean off screen. I felt like he was teaching me things about the industry, th things about, the art of acting, things about just maturing, and giving me advice with, girls, and like all kinds of things. And um, well, you talk about art imitating life or life imitating art. Either way, I don't know which one it was, but I mean, we had a very similar relationship in real life that we did on screen, minus all the hitting and punching and violence.
He was a
But
cool
you
Alfred.
know,
I
I
mean,
think
he was throwing punches as
oh
well.
God.
I feel like as an audience member, you were like, "This is the most badass Alfred I've ever seen."
Yeah, and he just is that cool in real life.
I mean, his dad as well, John Pertwee, Doctor Who. I don't know if you're familiar. I'm sure he's probably told you stories. So cool, so big over here, Doctor Who.
Yeah, I mean it was big, huge in the States too. I personally I never got into Doctor Who, but we'd go to conventions all the time, and so many people would come up to him, and I saw like how big of a massive cultural phenomenon Doctor Who is, and I do have to watch his dad. I mean, something that Sean really taught me uh, because he had a very different classical training than I did. I grew up in LA. I went to kind of more private coaches, more film and TV oriented classes, whereas he comes from a long lineage of actors, from England, from I mean, who knows how long? Like I know that his father was an actor. I'm pretty sure his father's father was an actor. You know, and coming from London, he was fully classically trained, and he'd tell me about the things that he would have to do to, in his training. Like they taught them how to juggle, how to fence. Um, they mainly performed Shakespeare, and so performing on stage there's a physicality and a presence that he always brought that taught me so much, even without saying anything, just by observing him and working with him and being in the same scene with him. And I'm really really grateful for that because I feel like there's it added a lot of depth to the way I understand the craft of acting.
Yeah, I mean, you can see it in the show too, not just to do with like acting. It's really the foundation of the show is Bruce and Alfred's relationship, and that's so interesting hearing that it was real off camera. It makes a lot more sense. Sorry for the interruption. If you're enjoying Lovett Film, why not show your support by subscribing to the channel, clicking the bell notifications, giving this video you're watching right now a like, and leave a comment, good or bad. We can take the abuse. Help us grow so I can keep giving you these interviews. Interviews like stars of Red Dead Redemption 2, actors in movies, Dexter Resurrection, you name it. Do follow our socials on Instagram. It's all just at Lovett Film. You find us very, very easily on Instagram, TikTok, and of course, if you're watching here on YouTube, we have it on YouTube. We have Spotify too, and Apple Podcasts. Now back to the interview. Now, you were also working with all these other actors like Ben McKenzie, Morena Barakin, I mean, Donal Logue, Robin Lord Taylor, just off the top of my head, just to name a few. I mean,
Yeah,
Jaden
Corey
Pinkett
Michael
Smith.
Smith.
Yeah, of course. Like it just Corey Michael Smith, Smith
Yeah.
the Riddler. Yeah, it just keeps going on and on. What was it like learning how to act? Of course, you were doing coaching stuff, but you're at this young age and you're just around all these people who are, doing it years. What was it like learning in that environment?
Yeah. I mean, I still feel like I'm always learning. Honestly, I didn't feel like any more of a rookie then than I do now. I feel today I feel like a rookie and a vet, and I feel like a felt like I had the same feeling back then. I feel like because I mean that was my second TV show. I was on a TV show with Kiefer Sutherland for 2 years when I was 10. So I just got an early start, with as far as experience goes. So I didn't necessarily feel out of my depth. Being on a show and working with big actors, I think the first time I felt really out of my depth was just realizing how big of a scale the show was in general. I remember pulling up to the table read for the first time for the pilot episode, and it's this massive table with I mean, there's so many actors in the show. There's so many series regulars. I came from Touch with Kiefer. Before that was like four series regulars, and Gotham was like 12. It's just like exponentially bigger. And this massive boardroom and this, like penthouse corporate suite in the middle of New York. And then there's like a massive TV with, before Zoom was big, like all these Zoom screens of like Warner Brothers and Fox executives. So it just felt like a machine. And I was like, holy moly, this is a very, very big uh, operation that I'm now, at the helm of. And I remember that tripped me out for a second. But I mean, as far as the actors go, I just felt I never felt intimidated. I just felt really grateful because I felt like anytime I got to work with any of these incredible actors, because there are such incredible actors, all of them, um, I was able to take from them and learn from them. I've always heard that acting is like playing tennis. You want to act, you want to play with people better than you because that's the only way you'll learn um, new stuff. And I remember on the show, I mean, even with such a big cast, we were we were very isolated a lot of the time. It felt like we all had our own little islands. I was working with Sean mostly, sometimes with Ben, sometimes with, Camren Bicondova. And then but I didn't really get to work much with Jada. I didn't get to work much with Robin. I didn't get to work much with Corey. So in the later seasons when I did have scenes with them, it was so exciting because we were such good friends. We hung out so much as a cast, off screen. And so, a few years into knowing them, like being able to actually act as Bruce against, Corey as Ed was such a gift. And I remember being just so in awe when I was, yeah, it's particularly Corey and Robin because, those were two I was really, really excited to work with that I just very rarely, I only got a handful of scenes with each of them. I think with Corey, I'm only in like three scenes the entire show with him. I think we're only in the same room like three times. And, I remember them because they meant a lot to me.
Yeah, of course. And I mean, as you said, there's so many characters in that show. Like even as you were mentioning, like Selena Kyle, Cameron Beckendova, it's like, how did I not mention her a second ago? It's like one of the main characters of the show. It's just so many of you guys, and you were all so amazing in the show. What did you think about the ending? Because I mean, unlike some other shows, you got to put the bat suit on, and you really got to have that moment of, all right, that was the beginning of the character, that was the middle of the character. There's a really good end where you can physically have that cowl on. How did it feel that day putting it on?
Yeah. So I didn't fully get to put it on, unfortunately. They hired a 6'2" like Russian stunt guy to actually wear the suit and they just CGI'd my face on. So it's my voice and it's my face. Um so like it didn't it felt rushed to
Right.
me because of that. I mean it just inherently was, because the final episode takes spoiler for anyone watching, but just watch it. The final episode takes place 10 years later after the second to last episode. And so everybody's aged up. They put white in Ben's hair and they gave him a mustache. And, I remember Erin had like a wig on. She had like, cherry hair instead of her usual blonde hair. So everybody looks different in the show. And, I think that to me, it was more of a little bit of fan service, instead
Yeah.
of like the other option is just having the show stay on for another 10 years and just seeing everybody actually age, which, would have been better. But, if you only have one episode to do it, it's I think what the writers wanted to do is just kind of show the fans that had been with the show for 5 years, like here's some resolution, here is all these characters being the characters that they're going to become like in their fully fledged forms. um but it only was one episode. There wasn't much to explore. I wasn't in it that much, so maybe I'm biased, just because I wasn't because again, like I wasn't really ever on set for that episode. I was in it, but it was really just like a weird CGI thing with my face. And um
Did you have the
and
cowl
then
on for the CG? As in, was it your head, or did they put
no,
like?
I never had it on.
Oh, okay. Well, that's pretty good CG because it really looks like your face in the cowl.
Yeah,
That's mad.
they
Yeah.
like aged up my face too.
Oh wow, okay. I mean, for people who don't know as well, I mean, as you said, watch it. The last episode, Cameron Beckendova wasn't in it either. They get another actress to play Catwoman who did a phenomenal job. But as you say, you kind of, as a fan who watched week by week, I kind of wanted just you two actors in that episode too. It would have felt more. But as you said, like it's such a difficult thing to do one episode. But as a show, it's phenomenal. I mean, did you take anything from set?
Not enough. I regret it every day. I really, my mom was with me, on set all the time because I was a kid, and she was gone for the last 2 weeks. And she would have been the one to like encourage me or like to just take like good wardrobe pieces for me. Because the thing with like taking stuff on set, whether it's props or set dressing or wardrobe, is like the departments don't care. They like want you to have it, because they know like you've been working with it and it's like a good sentimental thing for the actor, but they're technically not allowed to give it to you. And so, it's always like you tell the wardrobe people like, "Oh, I really want that suit," and they're like, "Oh, I wish I could give it to you," and then you find it in your room the next day.
Oh, okay.
This guy, and then they just tell the studio like, yeah, we lost it. We don't know what happened to it because the studio wants everything back. And so I just wasn't as a 17-year-old, 18-year-old, I just wasn't aggressive enough, and I only took a couple things, but I got like a nice pair of shoes, and I got some like random decorations that were in the Wayne Manor study, like these like weird jellyfish things that are in
Oh,
my
okay,
room now.
cool.
And the coolest thing I think I got was like a lamp that looks like a Roman soldier helmet.
Oh wow, what were those sets like to work in as well? Because as you say, the Wayne Manor set, it was really realistic looking. Was that an actual place you guys were in, or was it a set?
It was a set. It was a set. It was the only, I think that the Wayne Manor room, the study, and the GCPD bullpen, which was an incredible set. That set was massive. And, all the different rooms in the GCPD, from like the captain's office to the side people's office to the bullpen to the balcony to the interrogation rooms, like it's all fully built out. Like you can fully from walking from one end of the set to the other probably take a good like 3 to 5 minutes. Um, but anyway, those were the only two sets that were up the entire length of the show. Then
Yeah,
because we had the kitchen set. I don't know if you remember the kitchen
yeah, yeah, I
in
do. Yeah.
Wayne, and then like it was like a kind of like a greenery courtyard thing. So those were there for part of the time. And then if we ever wanted to shoot in more rooms in Wayne Manor, like I remember there was an episode where like you know Alfred's old buddy Reggie comes to stay, and he becomes a bad guy, and there's a lot of action around the house. So we actually went to like there was one uh, manor type house in Long Island that we would go to shoot any other rooms,
Yeah.
outside of the sets that were built were like the courtyard, the kitchen, the study, and then the bat cave for, that I think was just for season two.
Wow, I mean, incredible sets. I would have thought Wayne Manor at least was like a real place. That's fantastic, the work done on that. Something I have to ask about too. I know you've done so much other things other than Gotham. I want to talk about your movie Money Talks. There was also that movie with Hugh McGregor as well. But before we get into that, just one more question about Gotham. Cameron Monaghan, his version of Jerome turned into the Joker, is one of the best reveals I think in TV history. That turn of his face when he turns from innocent kid to the Joker, that type of thing.
Yeah,
When
yeah.
he got cast, were you guys told, oh, he's gonna be the Joker, or were you just reading it like usual?
I didn't know that. I had no idea. I honestly think that he did that himself. Like, I don't know if he did that in his audition or if he just did that on set. And he just made I'm pretty sure, I'm like 90% sure he just made himself the Joker. I mean, I wasn't, in any of those conversations. I wasn't in the room. But reading the script, there was zero indication, as far as I remember. Maybe I think what it was supposed to be. I think it was supposed to, because there's this thing in the comics, like the Maniacs, right? It's like the Joker inspired mob that what book is it in? I think it's in Dark Knight Returns. Is that the Frank Miller one?
Yeah, yeah, that's the one. Yeah, the one in the '80s.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So in that one, there's like a Joker inspired mob, and I think they were just going to allude to that because I think in the script it said that Jerome, laughed maniacally, but I don't think he was supposed to be the Joker. I think he was just supposed to be like somebody that was like an allusion to the Joker, and I think Cameron just came in and killed it and like took that role completely like by the balls, and did exactly what he wanted with it. I think everyone was like, okay, this guy has to be the Joker now. But yeah, it wasn't. Again, I don't know exactly how that happened, whether it was in the audition process or whether it was in on set. But he definitely was supposed to only be like a one-time guest star. Like that was supposed to be an isolated story, and then all of a sudden he's that guy. I mean,
That is
and like
insane.
I remember the marketing team loved it. I remember I think I had like heard some stuff because we would shoot an episode and then like 3 weeks to a month and a half later, it would be on air. Like there was a pretty short turnaround. So I remember like it wasn't that long after we shot that episode, and I saw like like the teaser for it when the previous episode aired. And I was like, and they made the teaser like all about that scene and all about, teasing him as the Joker. And I was like, oh wow, I didn't even like I remember being surprised when it was like airing, like, oh, I didn't realize that he was the Joker. So yeah, I think that he really did that himself.
That is such a cool story. I mean, as a viewer, we never would have guessed that he wasn't always supposed to be the Joker. It's so cool. Now, David, as I was saying, you've done so many other things. You know, like there was the birthday cake with Ewan McGregor, Val Kilmer. There was a movie you did in 2021. I mean, while researching you for the interview, I was like, wow, that's such an interesting, different, like such a different type of role rather to Bruce. What was that experience like working with these people? Like as I mentioned.
It was really fun. I didn't get to work with Val, but I worked with Will Fichtner and Ewan McGregor. I'm only in that movie for like 10 minutes. So I only worked like 2 days, but it was so fun. And I became really good friends with everybody on that set very quickly. I mean, like you said, an all-star cast. Like there were so many people in that. Jeremy Allen White's in it too,
Yeah.
before he did the bear. Um, and I didn't really get to work with him, but I mean, my biggest scene, I don't know if you got a chance to watch it, but my biggest scene was with Ewan McGregor, and he was such a pleasure to work with. So kind and so generous as an actor. I mean, I think that was it was a while ago now. I shot that when I was 18, and I'm 24 now. So I think I've matured a lot and I've learned a lot. And I think that I was a little too young to realize how much of a legend Ewan McGregor was
Yeah.
at the time.
Are you a fan of
Um,
Star Wars or?
I wasn't then, not really.
Right. Okay.
Uh,
I think that
I
could
mean,
have been nerve
I
wracking
hadn't
if
seen
you
Prince
were, because
starring,
like,
like I hadn't seen his like most iconic stuff.
yeah, because if
Uh,
you were, I feel like if you were a big Obi-Wan fan, it might have made it like, oh my god, that type of thing. So maybe that
yeah,
helped in your favor, you know?
yeah. I mean, I knew that it like inspired. I knew that he was a big deal. I just didn't know. I wasn't like a fan myself. I was just
Yeah.
too
Yeah.
young to like have seen a lot of his stuff. And so, but I was like a massive. I was like, I remember I was binging Prison Break at the time, and William Fichtner's in Prison Break, and I didn't even realize that he was going to be on set. I just saw him at Crafty, and he's like playing my uncle, and I was just like, oh my God. I mean, that cast is just like everybody in that cast is doing incredible things. I mean, Emery Cohen is killing it this year. He was just in Marty Supreme, and he was in Roofman. Two fantastic, probably two of my favorite movies from this year. Um, and he played my cousin, and we had a really intense scene together. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, it was just a really really fun experience, and I'm really grateful for it. Yeah.
So cool. I mean, I can't imagine watching a show and then you go to a craft service table and you're like, that's a person from the show. It's so interesting.
Yeah, exactly. It was trippy, and I was like, "Oh, you're in the scene with me. That's awesome. Like I'm gonna be working with you."
Now you have a movie at the moment called Money Talks, where I found out today actually that it was executive produced by Christopher Lloyd. I mean, it's one of these movies where I have not seen it because I'm not sure if it's out yet. It's going
It's
around
not out yet.
festivals and such. I mean, for people who want to watch it down the line, what's it about?
Yeah, so it's gonna be coming out really soon. I believe later this month we're gonna be posting it on YouTube. It's a short film. It's 30 minutes long. It's a very expansive, very ambitious short film. And I wrote it with a friend of mine, and I produced it, and I star in it. We have an amazing cast. It stars Ethan Kukowski, who's become a really good friend, who worked with Cameron Monaghan on Shameless, um, and Fredro Starr and Zoli Griggs and uh, Francesca Scorsese. Um, I mean, Sean Pertwee is in it as well. He voices a character in it,
No way! Wow.
and he absolutely kills it. I won't say too much, but yeah, he absolutely kills it. It's about just the log line is on the day of Reagan's inauguration in 1981. It follows in $100 bills. It travels throughout the underbelly of New York City, and so it's a story about our interconnectedness as strangers. It's a commentary on capitalism, exploring different characters' relationship with money. Does money make you happy? Is money a good thing? It flirts with all those questions. What should be the purpose of money, is something that's suggested. And um, it's a very poetic and I think a very, very beautiful film. I mean, there's not so much that you can do with a short film, or not as much that you can do as with a show or a feature. You just have less time with the viewer, and so there's a lot I think that's uh, suggested, and a lot that's up for interpretation. But I'm biased, but I think it's just the right amount.
So we can watch it soon
But
on
I
YouTube.
encourage everyone to watch it on YouTube soon. I just follow me, and I don't know if we have all the details ironed out yet. So, I mean, it's the thing about Money Talks is I really made it with my best friends in New York. My best friends, acted in it, like Ethan, directed it, produced it, and so it's like such a labor of love. And I like really like, you hear people say that in the industry a lot, but this is like I really mean that, because I really it was like something that, you just I got together with my friend group and just, made happen. So um it's been an honor to see that it got into Tribeca and to see it get into a bunch of other festivals. And all of the accolades and praise that it's been getting is just super, super rewarding.
I can't wait to see it. Genuinely, I mean, I read as well. You wrote the movie as well? Did you, the short?
I did. I
Wow.
co-wrote it.
So proper, like, this is, you put your all into this. You're in it. You wrote it, directed. That's phenomenal. I can't wait to
Yeah,
see
I
it.
didn't direct it. I produced it.
Oh, produce it. Sorry, my mistake. But anyone who's watching, do check out Money Talks when it does release. Keep an eye on David's socials. David, I want to ask you too. I know I don't have you all day here, so I don't want to go for too long because I know you have stuff to do. But for anyone starting out, I usually ask the question, "What advice would you give to young actors?" But you're in a very unique perspective where you were a young actor who was put into the center of a huge franchise. I mean, I don't think there is a bigger character than Batman. I mean, in the off chance that we have somebody watching who is a young actor who ends up in the center of a huge franchise, what advice would you give to them?
Mm, it's a great question. I don't know what advice would I give to them. Um, you know, I would say don't listen to the comments. As hard as that would be as being a young person today, most young people are unfortunately chronically online, which I get, I get that. But, if just trust yourself and trust the people that you're working with over anything else, because there's always going to be people that have something to say. And it's really easy, I think, today to let the outside world and anybody with an iPhone, or not even an iPhone, anybody with social media, tell you what they think. And it's really easy, you read one comment that isn't nice and doesn't like what you're doing. It's really easy to get fixated on that, I think, as a young person, especially if you're, in a position like I was, where you're in a big franchise. But again, trust the people that you're working with, and trust yourself. If you're in that position, you're there for a reason. And I think focus. I think it's really easy also when you're in that kind of position for like, if people are hating online, it's gonna be they don't like your haircut, or they're like, oh, he's not tall enough, or things that are just very superficial. Uh, Focus on getting better as an actor, I think that I think that something that bugs me, maybe this is again, I'm biased, but I think it's true. Bugs me as an actor, acting my whole life, is you hear a lot of people say, even like acting coaches sometimes say, like, oh, acting is really easy, like it's just either you are the role or you're not. And I think that's so wrong. I think that acting, after doing it for basically 20 years, pretty much I mean, I'm 24 and I've been doing it for like 19 years, like my whole life, pretty much. I still feel like I'm learning what it means to act, um, still. And I think that that's a good thing. And I think that constantly be hungry to learn more, and always be an eternal student would be my other piece of advice.
Fantastic. I think anybody who's in that also very unique position, I mean, could definitely learn a lot from that. I mean, I know, as I said, I don't have you all day, but one thing I really want to ask you about just before you go is there is this new casting about Batman at the moment, James Gunn's DCU. He's actively looking for a Batman. First of all, as a fan of your Bruce Wayne, I think it should be you, and you can't say it should be you. So who do you think, if not yourself, could be the next Batman?
I don't know. I've seen a lot of really good fan castings. I trust that James Gunn. I haven't really like looked into it exactly. So I don't have my money's not on any horse, so to speak. But um, I know that James Gunn is going to kill it. I loved Superman. I thought it was a brilliant movie, and I'm super excited to see his take on, a darker, grittier character like Batman. Um, and James Gunn, if you watch this, I would love to be a member of the Bat family. It's been since I was on Gotham, it's been a dream to play Damian Wayne, because in the comics, I felt the Injustice comics are my favorite comics by far, and I love Damian Wayne in those. He's such a little brat badass, and that would be
That'd be a
that,
really
that would be
cool.
my pick myself.
That'd be a really cool casting. David, I just gotta say, man, I'm so glad you said yes to coming on. Like, I'm a genuine fan of yours. Like, I'm not somebody who watched season 1 of Gotham and stopped, like, week by week in school. Me and my brother Chris, who runs this page with me, with our team, and my best friend in school, every day we'd come in and go, "Did you see a new episode of Gotham? Oh yeah, it's Professor Pig," or whoever was in it, We're like, "Bruce, he's put on a new mask. It kind of looks like Batman." It was such a escape from the boring, mundane school and stuff like that. And thank you for your performance, because the show was phenomenal and it was just a great escape. So thanks for coming on and making that dream come true, where I'm talking to Bruce Wayne.
It's an honor to hear you say that, really. Just you were mentioning Professor Pig and the mask. Like, I remember those things, and it's so cool to know that somebody was out there that was like as excited as I was reading the scripts, so that's that. Thank you for saying that. That really means a lot. And I'm shooting I just shot a movie a month ago that I'm really excited about. It's called Hurricane Harvey. I don't want to say too much because we just shot it and it's in super early stages. I'm shooting another movie later this month, and then another one right after that. Again, I don't want to say too much because things aren't locked in, but just all that to say, keep an eye out. I have some really, really exciting stuff that I'm excited about, that I'm really proud of coming. So if anyone watching this, if you watch Gotham, if you like anything about me or my acting, check me out, and just follow along. I'm gonna keep everyone posted, and I just have a lot of projects that I'm really, really, really excited about. A lot of stuff coming this year.
We'll link all your socials in the Instagram reels and the YouTube video and stuff like that. So people follow David Mazouz, follow what you're making, watch your movies, and David, thank you for coming on.
Thank you. Have a good one, Jamie.
You too. Nice to meet you. Thanks, David, for coming on to Lovett Film. Guys, we interviewed Batman, the second Batman of the Lovett Film show. We had Roger Craig Smith, who was in Arkham Origins. I'm here today with my co-hosts. We have Chloe and we have Chris.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, guys. So, Gotham. Did you guys watch Gotham?
Do you know what? I've actually never seen Gotham. Is that a crime? Is that a crime?
No.
I'm so sorry. I do remember the first episode though, and it's really dark alley. Bruce, obviously David, his parents get brutally murdered in that scene, and then from there I remember in a prison, and there's like all these weird creatures trying to escape from the cells. Does that sound familiar?
It kind of sounds like any other Batman project, but you know what? I appreciate the effort. You watched a bit of the first episode. Personally, as Jamie was saying in the interview, loved Gotham, got me through school. 22 now. I was in school when the show was airing, so I watched it every Wednesday when it came out after school, and me and Jamie as well used to theorize about what was gonna we used to make some theories about what was gonna happen next, and I wasn't so happy with the last season. But
How many seasons are there?
I don't remember. 5.
5 seasons of Gotham.
5 seasons?
Yep,
Okay.
5 seasons.
It just got weird in the end. The Joker was 3 different people. There was a time jump, and look, I had a good ride, and I think the acting was great. Loved Camren Monaghan, loved Sean Pertwee, loved David. So and as well, what's the actress's name? Played young Catwoman.
Camren
Bicondova.
Yeah.
Camren, if you're somehow watching this, sorry. I love that show. Recently, though, this week, gonna pivot a little bit. A lot this month, actually, since the new year, we've had Stranger Things finishing up. We've had Marty Supreme come out. I know you haven't seen it yet, I don't think, by the time we're airing this.
So Stranger Things has come to an end after all those years. Oh my God. What a roller coaster that has been. Can I just say the ending though, if I want to say anything at all? Hopper. Can we talk about Hopper? How is he getting engaged? How is he okay that 11 is gone? Like, there's so many unanswered questions here. The pregnant women, like, where are they? What's the story behind that? What do you think?
I completely agree. Hopper is the big issue with the ending, right? I don't think a lot of people realize this, but he had a structure with his arc. He had this whole thing where he was a very depressed man in grief. His daughter Sarah died. He was an alcoholic. He was smoking all the time. He was drinking beer while brushing his teeth in the first season. Season 2, 11 comes around. He's healed in a way. He's becoming a dad again. All through the season. Season 4, when he's in the prison in Russia, he's like, I'm going to get out of here. I got to get back. Finally, this whole thing of the curse of Jim Hopper, At the end of season 4, that resolved. He met 11 again. They hugged and it was over. I don't know who wrote the 5th season, but they were not the same writers. All of that was gone. He was automatically thinking about his daughter Sarah again, like nothing ever happened, as in he never moved on and started living again. And when 11 died, he's like, well, I've done this before. Another daughter who's dead. No big deal. That makes no sense. They ruined the ending of Hopper.
I don't think his ending was ruined necessarily. I think it just comes full circle. It's a bit rushed, I will admit, but he gets with Joyce. They like that's what the show has kind of been building towards. It's just been their relationship. I think they explored it enough. With him and the whole, his daughter Sarah, passed and he felt guilty about it. With the whole Vecna. Vecna in his head and stuff like that. No, look, I feel like they only have so much time. It's the problem, like it's the Game of Thrones problem. There's so much going on that realistically, if they were to wanted to really explore all that, they needed another season, But what they had...
They just had to make a different ending.
No. They did it. What was the thing with the army base coming in? We had, was it Sigourney Weaver? Was that who we had? No. You're one from... We had Linda Hamilton. Cut that out. We had Linda Hamilton come in. She was amazing. And but the army base, that was kind of unnecessary. That kind of like didn't really come full front at the end. I don't know.
Chris is wrong. You don't need a whole season. You just need a better ending. It was very easy. Here's my idea, right? Purple Rain. Mike. He finds this village where 11 is, right? Or one he's hoping she's in. He gets up on stage. He's been practicing his guitar. Finn Wolfhard is a musician, right? And then Mike starts to perform Purple Rain.
That is so bad. That is so terrible.
And then 11 walks in.
No.
Okay, that's not even about Hopper, by the way. But that's...
They could have called him and said, oh, she's not dead.
Why is he a musician now? He's a writer.
Actually, no. He was only announced to be a writer in the epilogue 10 minutes. Okay. So that could be binned.
Yeah, but
they just stole that.
Realistically, he's the dungeon master in D&D, which means he's a very creative person, which means he's probably gonna do writing or something when he's older.
Or making music.
Who is
no,
this?
Mike.
So
no,
look,
Mike is a musician. He actually is in real life. He's a singer for an indie folk.
No, I'm telling you.
To your eyes, this in your
okay,
head,
no, look.
This is what I'm doing.
It would have been better.
I think they wrote themselves into a box a little bit, in the last season with Vecna and everything like that, where they had this big bad villain, and it kind of became like any other Marvel film or even Game of Thrones, with the Night King, where it's like this one entity that they have to defeat, and then there's all this build up, and then it's like it's completely a letdown to audiences because they wanted a big action sequence, but the show was never actually about that. So fans being disappointed there was not a big Demogorgon war on the planet is kind of silly, because it was always a mystery.
But the action sequence that we got was pretty good.
No, it was pretty good.
The high
but the show was never even about that. Obviously now it's stupid. There should have been Demogorgons. I agree. If that's the planet they're from, why aren't they on that planet?
How did we go from pregnant ladies to Demogorgons?
But yeah, I feel like the show was fighting to be. They wrote themselves in a box where it's like they're are they still going to be that original vibe of Stranger Things, the mystery show, Stephen King vibe, or are they the action-packed thing of like, you know, there's like a fight going on, you know?
Yeah.
So like it's like they're fighting two different genres. So like I think with what they did, I think they done the best they could, you know? Now, do I agree that they write the finale while they're making it? No. The new show's out. But like I feel like, yeah, with what they done the best they could, you know?
Yeah, and I think we just have to mention Jamie Campbell-Bower there as Max. Incredible. Do you know he had no AI enhancement or anything for his voice, and he's
brilliant. He is
Jimmy
the best,
Fallon doing that.
He was the best actor in the whole thing.
Yeah, he was.
100%.
Yeah, Jamie Campbell-Bower. See, there we go. He did it on Jimmy Fallon, and it was exactly like the show. He's incredible, and of course you have Millie Bobby Brown, incredible as well. I loved the set. What was her outfit inspired by again? Goonies. The Goonies.
I cared more about, you know, actually Will and stuff like that this season more than anything. He was more the main character.
Noah Schnapp was fantastic. I really think that one episode before Christmas, you know, when he had the white eyes and he was, you know, getting into the hive mind, why the hell wasn't that the second last episode's final scene? It was really jumbled. If that was the episode before the finale, you'd be like, no
and he
way.
defeated Vecna and everything in that moment. Yeah, that was really good. The whole, again, with the plot of the army and all coming in, I don't know. Yeah.
I like the meme where when Eleven goes into the room where they're like, with that room in the army base where what is in here, and it's Walter White. That's my favorite part of the entire
Didn't
thing.
see that one.
I don't feel like it's a Game of Thrones ending though.
No, I've never seen the ending again.
Okay, well that.
Please don't say anything.
That was.
Are you trying to not get spoiled on that show?
No.
That was a pretty controversial ending. But I don't think it's that level of bad. I've seen worse. You know, I've been disappointed by worse. I liked it, but I understand why people don't like it at the same time.
Game of Thrones or
Stranger Things, you know. Maybe I just need more time to actually come up with a clear opinion because it seems I'm going between both at the moment. But
it kind of seems like the end of all shows, you're kind of just a bit disappointed. Like I remember, like the ending of Dexter. No, but we've all seen Dexter, haven't we? No, what's Dexter? Dexter, with Deb.
I have actually.
She was
someone
the
in the
soul.
Saying
She
I
was the
seen
like.
Eddie Dexter, and I have. Right?
Jamie's a big Dexter fan.
Interview, right? And somebody commented, "This interviewer has clearly never seen Dexter. He keeps interrupting the other host, which was Chloe. We had internet issues."
Yeah,
okay? I've seen all of Dexter.
We even have the Dexter Funko Pops limited edition ones. Might I add? But yeah, the ending of Dexter. You know, you waited. How many seasons were there? 8 or something. 8 seasons. The end of Dexter. Deb, that broke my heart. So I don't think you're ever going to be satisfied with the ending. The only ending I was satisfied with was Cobra Kai. I have to say. Okay, our editor's not saying that.
if you have an opinion, one show which will never be beaten in terms of the most perfect ending is Breaking Bad. You know, I just like Vince. You know, well done, Vince.
Look, I think the problem with Stranger Things 5, in my opinion, is none of those things you said. Well, maybe one or two. But I think they jumbled too many characters. They introduced too many new characters. They spent half the season on Holly for some reason. You don't do that in your last season. You don't bring in a new... I know she was in every season, but you don't bring in a new face and then just like give them the most screen time. No offense to the actress. But and then... too many plot holes, you know. Why did the military just let them go in the end? You know, what happened to Linda Hamilton? She spends the season just kind of staring at people, I guess. Yeah, the pregnant women, that they all just get obliterated in the Upside Down and nobody cares, I guess. How is the Upside Down wormhole if they had a portal in Russia in the previous seasons? And yeah, just going from, you know, the ending of season 4 with this like basically apocalyptic war that looks like it's about to happen to, we seal all that up, it's fine. You know, I think that's just, for me, it was just like, doesn't really work. And so yeah, the writing's just not very consistent. The actors are all brilliant every time they bring their A game, but the writing, I think the Duffers just kind of got a bit overwhelmed and a bit... there's a bit too much pressure on, especially with the finale, of course. And if you've seen the documentary, one of the writers says, well, what about demo fatigue? I'm a bit worried about that. Which is just so ironic when you consider that the whole fan base was like, we want more demos. I think, I think they kind of panicked at the end and they didn't have enough time. So I think they just needed another season.
Yeah, I think Carl summed it up best. That's exactly all the problems. I agree with him there. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and we will be back next week. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video, and click that bell notification.
Or do a James May on it and don't comment, don't like, and don't subscribe.
Yep. All right. See you next week.